All right, everybody. Welcome to Taste is Plain TV. This is your friendly neighborhood Jehar. I know you've been waiting. I know you've been patient. We've had a few delays today. But what we got here, we've got PURRI versus David for the European Duel League. Season 9 grand finale. I almost wanted to say finale, but I cut myself off short. That happens like that. I'm not, circumcised or anything. But hey, guys, we've got some awesome matches coming up today. Actually, well, okay, I lied. One awesome match, but it is going to be more epic than the trailer for the next Godzilla movie. I mean, it is just going to be abso-fucking-lutely fantastic. PURRI, the undefeated, versus David, the young whippersnapper, up-and-comer, looking to tear a path through and blaze a road of glory for his name in Quake 2. I better, cut all this shit out and find out. They in ptrip? Are they in ptrip? Are they really in ptrip? Is that who I think it is? That's Frick. I don't want to see Frick. The hell? Okay, I'm seeing the other channel come up. But everybody's staying in here. Okay, everybody's going to go check out this server. And I really have to say thanks for having GTV tonight. Oh, yes, we do have PURRI. Yeah, I'm waking up. I'm full of caffeine and not much else, so you're going to have to forgive me. Well, let's bring some game sound in here. And yeah, I am connecting from the States. I might be catching a little bit of latency. If you can't stand me, then don't worry. You do have other options. You can watch GTV yourself and tune in to tasteisplain.tv/player. Just in that address right there. Or you can also check out Alex J's stream if you're of the Russian inclined, so you can rush on over there. I don't have a link, but I'm sure you can find it in IRC. But we've got PURRI in the channel. I don't see David yet, but he was around in IRC. And there's a lot to talk about going into this. I mean, anytime we see an EDL match, we're always thinking, okay, we're going to have PURRI, we're going to have Demaya. That is just the way it goes. That's the way the world works. Well, this season, not so much. Demaya, if you noticed last season and maybe during the Invitational as well, maybe wasn't showing as much focus as he usually does. And even then, I mean, he is still better than a lot of people. But this season, he really, took a drop back. And I only bring this up because he was in David's group, and he was going to be the main obstacle going into this. But David not only took out Demaya, took out just about everyone else in his group. Now, PURRI has not lost a single map during the entire season. In fact, it's been a long time since he's lost anything at all. But keeping that in mind, I'm really looking forward to David's play here. He is I don't want to say a newer player, but he is a newer player in the context of the European Duel League, and especially fighting against PURRI. In fact, this will be the first time they've officially gone head-to-head in the EDL ever, and you get to see it right here, right now, on Taste is Plain TV. PURRI is just warming up a bit, still looking for David to show his mug. And speaking of mugs, I could only get a couple pictures for these guys, to be perfectly honest. But there's that. It's not a bad face for a poll, But yeah, we're going to be seeing some epic action today. PURRI's doing the dance. The Michael J. Fox dance. Yeah. But we're here in GTV, and just because I have them turned off, you're not seeing just the barrage of text coming out of these guys, but there's a lot of excitement on the server, and if you have, if you think there's room left on the server, you can hop on there yourself. Otherwise, watch the stream, be it my stream or Alex J's stream. I'm really not picky. All we really care about is making sure that Quake 2 and all the other games like it, the games that people go, oh, wait, people still play that? Yeah, and they're totally awesome. But PURRI, he's been making a name for himself in Quake 2, in Quake Live, in Quake 4. He's been all over the place, and that makes me happy. But He's looking to show everybody that he is still the undefeated champ of Quake 2. That's the intention anyway. We're going to have to see what kind of fight that David can bring to the table, and we might be very, very well surprised. I know I'm certainly hoping for it. That's what we're here for. We're here to see the blood. We're here to see the blows go flying. And again, I am watching this from Oregon, and this is way over in not Oregon. So I might be catching a little bit of stream lag. I hope you'll forgive me. I'm not perfect. But we do what we can here to make sure that the unpraised games get a little bit of lip service. And I hope I have big lips. That's really the entire point. But I don't see David in here yet. Got Wissian, got Bia, got Alex J. We got everybody here to make sure that they're going to be seeing. Actually, they're in the server itself. And I'm watching in GTV. Oh, those bastards. I see how this is. This is some Cold War shit right here. Ah. Oh well, they win. They have more cold than we do. But they're in the server itself. I'm watching in GTV. Maybe one of them could PM Rotten Rose like the actual server address. That would be cool. I'm not going to bitch either way, but, you know, it would be kind of nice. Anyways, stay tuned, guys, because we're still looking for David to show. I'm not in IRC right now, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But Baya is making sure to give PURRI as much of a warm-up as he can. But stay tuned, guys, because here on TSTV, you're going to be seeing live coverage of PURRI versus David for the EDL 9 final. Hello, everybody. We've got PURRI, and very shortly, we're going to be having David as well. Of course, if he doesn't show up, we could just have Baya as the final contestant here. Oh, that's so much better. Oh. Feels good. Like, for anybody who knows me, technical shit will drive me up the wall. I'm very fastidious when it comes to things like this. Because, again, I want to, you know, put the best face forward for Quake, especially when it comes to the older things like Quake 2, Quake World, and all that. They just don't get enough love. You know, they're like Zoe Just Natural. I still don't know how to pronounce her last name. Just not enough love. And frickin' Clive Owen, yeah? Who should have been James Bond. Not stupid, I'm always smirking face. Oh, I know he's always thinking of Pierce Brosnan naked face. Anyway, do we have David? Yes, we do have David! Oh, and I went through all that trouble to spell his name with all the leet speak, all the 4s and the 1s and the capital D at the end and not at the beginning. And what does he do? He connects with just a plain old English. Ah. Yeah, that's right. All right. So, guys, this is going to be pick. A lot of picking, a lot of flicking. But this is going to be best of 5 PURRI versus David. And we're going to be getting maps picked out here very, very shortly. And for all of you watching in GTV, you can also check out the audio-only stream on tastyspleen.tv/player if you're not already. And if you are, thank you. We try to provide as many options. And also those options make sure that people bitch less, which is totally cool too. Yeah. All right, so these guys are going to be warming up and picking together maps. We got PURRI, we got David. And now that's all we've got. We already have PURRI's map selected. Wissian, the referee, in here. And once again, Bia, Wissian, I mean, we missed a lot of the EDL this season just because a lot of the matches took so long to get going. But, you know, that's the way it works. It's the way it goes. But everybody ganged up on us to make sure that the final got covered. And why the hell not? I mean, PURRI is as veteran as it gets, and so far this season, completely undefeated. David, this is actually his first season of EDL. He has very little official recorded history, a relative newcomer, and way younger than the rest of us. I feel so bad. All right, so the maps are going to be DM3, Q2 Duel 5, Power Trip, and the Chastity Belt. I like this. No no edge, I guess. But we're going to be starting off with the Classic. And for all of you King of the Hill players who hate DM3, get ready to have your face stuffed full of it. Because this map is awesome. Guys, they're warming up right now. And this is the European Duel League. So, you know, between every map, there's going to be a period where they don't move. As them smoking. They do things a little differently over there. They got to have a SIG between every map. This is the way it goes. You could just always imagine both of these guys, you know, standing out on a balcony with a cigarette in hand, looking over the city, eyes squinting. You can even imagine, you know, they're across the street from each other, just squinting across each other from balconies. But now, David the Pole is going to be a little bit further away from PURRI here, but PURRI's all readied up. I can see the sparks flying here. Or at least I can imagine them, and I've always had an overactive imagination. So guys, once again, PURRI versus David, the EDL Season 9 Grand Finale here on Tasty Playing TV, but not only here on video, also on the radio, TSTV/player, and also on Alex J's stream. You can check that out as well. That pun is never going to get old. I can promise you that. You know, those rockets aren't quite loud enough. That's right. And DM3, a really great map to get things started off. I don't want to say it'll be an explosive start, but between these guys, I mean, they've got to have a lot of energy going into this. There's going to be a lot of anticipation of how David is going to be playing here. So we're going live here, guys, in 3 motherfucking seconds.
1.
All right, could be watching PURRI get started out of the gate, and yeah, I'm still catching a little bit of in-game lag. Not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately, being over here in Oregon, but he's going to be spawning railgun side of the map, getting that grab, and he should have mega health by all rights. So let's go take a look at what David's rocketed with. He's got yellow armor side. First rocket launcher, a really, really important part of this map, and with a quick rocket jump, he's well armed with the railgun as well. So next yellow armor is going to be an important item to fight for. David's already in position, and if you're unfamiliar with Quake 2, yellow armors are 20 seconds apart. David with one rocket fights off PURRI from the second yellow armor. Doesn't really give PURRI rather a real excuse to hang around and try to grab the second spawn of a rocket launcher. So without a rocket launcher, PURRI's going to be at a bit of a disadvantage here. He had most of his mega knocked off there, and there really isn't a lot of armor except for that one YA. So PURRI's really got to make good use of the railgun at long range. But here's the thing, David's also got a rail as well, and so PURRI's really going to be on the mega side of the map, really biding his time, making sure that he's not sticking his neck out without that mega in hand. But without a lot of armor, you know, one rail shot from David could knock it all away, which is pretty much exactly what happened last time. And so PURRI is making all of this fight right now about that rocket launcher on the other end of the map. So PURRI looking for the errant rail, and there really isn't a lot he can do to challenge the yellow armor side of the map without a rocket launcher, but he's coming back through here, looking for a few initial hits with the Hyper Blaster cutting right through his armor. PURRI's got a pickup of the YA, but he's low on health. Got to back out of here with the rail. Got to get through. Got to have my cereal. No, not going there. Not going there. PURRI, though, escaping with 29 health, an excellent grab of yellow armor, but oh, right on top of the railgun, we have the first frag in David's name, and it's going to be with the beautiful rail, and David, from that frag, is looking to pick up the next mega as well. This is going to be making things really difficult for PURRI, but David might be out of position when it comes to an actual grab for rocket launchers, so now PURRI, with the RL in hand, has just made this fight about as even-footed as it can get. PURRI doesn't have a railgun quite yet, but as rockets fly out from there, PURRI will be defending the area very, very nicely. And now, weapons-wise, these guys are both stacked to the teeth as far as they need to. And now PURRI's going to be coming in very aggressively on the YA. Both of them taking damage. PURRI still at 150. Only one rocket left to his name, though. And the 5 rocket pack has not yet spawned back up. But PURRI's looking for timing on the next rocket launcher grab itself, knowing that ammo for the rocket launcher is almost as sparse as the rocket launcher itself. It really has a lot of similarities to Quake World DM6 in that respect. But PURRI coming back through, looking to go aggressive on the Mega, doing a ton of damage against David, who's now down 51 health. And oh, one more rocket coming around the corner. That is going to be tying things back up 1-1. PURRI with 44 health and a bit of armor, now taking solid defense of the yellow armor side of the map. And now that he's not out of position for rocket launcher, this became so much more difficult for David. I mean, when David made that first frag, he made a play for Mega, which really wasn't a bad bad idea at all, but it gave Purri enough time to go and grab that all-important rocket launcher. And, you know, if you're new to Quake 2 or you're a little bit unfamiliar with the metagame, it's really not the most important item in every map, but in a map like this where, for one thing, there's only one of them, and for another thing, it's in this fairly shitty position as far as defensive capabilities go. And the map being this small and this tight with this many choke points, it's really the rocket launcher that defines who is going to be the upper man in a lot of the battles. So Purri sweeping through the rest of the map, taking everything he can. Taking no damage off of that Mega means that he really won't need to worry about covering that area for the next 40 seconds or so. But he's already done a ton of damage against David. And now David's got to do exactly what Purri did at the beginning of this map. Without the real advantage, just take the frag back away. But Purri picking up another freebie. And really, again, a lot of the advantage on this map can come from, you know, keeping the pressure through the spawns and getting those spawn frags. Even if it means putting yourself out of position from rockets. Oh my god. Purri with another round the corner rocket frag will be making this thing 5-1 with 10 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock. And yes, guys, you see this right. We are playing it old school today. 15 minutes each map. And with the potential of 5 maps, we could be in it for the long haul, which is, makes me so excited. My nipples are all tingly like. But David was able to recover the rocket launcher he dropped from that last death. And so he's got a little more to work with. Not picking up that extra rocket ammo pack is a little worrisome, especially since Purri will already know that he's going to be on this side of the map. So now playing for yellow armor, he's making a really big, obvious maneuver over there, wasting a lot of his rockets, losing a lot of his own armaments here. But that was, at the very least, a free armor grab, and he's got about as much armor as you can get on this map without really whoring out the shards. David just looking to hold off this side of the map, and he's actually going to have to damage himself if he wants to get any more YA. So he's really lost the real point of staying in that area. Picking up 5 more rockets, good to his name, but he really needed that extra 5 as he was moving from RL to YA. So he's a little bit out of position now. He's got a good stack, but he's not really doing anything to prevent Purri from maintaining the stack that he has. Purri has been doing a really good job of keeping the pressure on and keeping David down, even when David has that advantage. And David has been really having a lot of trouble as far as finding Purri unawares and doing some free damage. In fact, even there, he nearly took another rocket between the cheeks. A very risky play by David, and not having full awareness of where Purri's attacking from, that could cost him. 9 minutes left on the clock, 5-1. But this is DM3, and things can turn around very, very quickly. David now changing gears a little bit here, and I actually like this. Pulling out the rail. Looking to use that to his advantage. And taking a look at stats here real quick, we're seeing 6% railgun for David. On Purri's end of things, a full 10%. And really, this is a difficult map to use rail on. It's really more about suppression and catching those free hits than anything else. But even a difference like that could really be costing David right now. Purri at a full 200, 100 stack, as armed to the teeth as you can get in this map. And around the corner, Purri taking a little bit of splash, but it really cost David so much more. He's going to have to recover, spend a little bit more time on his back foot, but that is also going to allow Purri to aggress in. And again, apologies about the latency. It's actually in-game. It's nothing to do with the stream itself. It's just the fact that I'm connected to the server from Oregon and I have like a 200-300 ping. But, ouch. David's actually going to be losing his 1 frag to the platform as it squishes him, but that was not going to be a fight. He was going to be coming out on top of anyway. Grabbing away another quick railgun. And this map is really challenging for the down player. I mean, you've really got to be able to trap the enemy when you've got no health, no armor, and get in those rail hits. I mean, there's only a Mega and a yellow armor in the map already, so just a couple of rail hits will absolutely decimate your opponent no matter how far ahead he is. And that can turn the entire map around, but it really puts focus on you being able to out-ninja and outthink your opponent. And so far, Purri really hasn't been caught with his pants down. That's been a major problem for David. Gotta keep my eye on David for the next frag here. See what he can put together. A quick RJ up to the railgun, and usually that rocket jump would be really dangerous in a map that doesn't have a lot of armor to begin with, but there is plenty of health up there to recover with. Very nice damage done on Purri at the yellow armor. But that last little hit from Purri ended up evening the tables. And then some, I'm sure to bet. Yeah, Purri's still at mega health, still with 100 health. This mega will be all bonus for him. There's the grab. So again, if you prefer, you can watch through GTV and just hear the audio stream latency free. Being over here in the States like this, there's not a lot I can do about it. Makes me sad, Panda, but hey. Purri going silent mode, and with the hits that we're hearing from David, with the shots being put out by his railgun, David has no idea where Purri is. So coming around the corner, that nearly cost David everything. And now coming around here, David's going to go all aggressive on the yellow armor, but Purri's ready for him. And with the superior stack, it's really going to take initial damage from David to make Purri worry about anything. Nice. Nice rail hit. That's exactly what David needed. Purri can recover here with 20 health and some armor, but that's still enough for one more rail from David to get him back on the board. He's only at 30 health, and a blaster off of the spawn frag will be putting Purri back in control. There's a free railgun, and here comes a free mega health. Purri's probably a little bit early for it due to, well, having his timing knocked around a little bit by that frag. And of course, in Quake World, Quake 2, and Warsaw, the way the mega health timing works is that it's 20 seconds after the last person who grabbed it goes to 100 health or below. That was a beautiful rail by Purri. Definitely going to be keeping David's head down. Literally, in this case, as he's been knocked down to the bottom tier, and Purri's going to be uncontested for this yellow armor. I do like the fact that David has been able to change his pace so much. He's been able to go between defensive play and aggressive play very, very quickly and very decisively in just the right moments. But without a full knowledge of where Purri's moving to and from, those efforts largely get pounded into the ground. But I do appreciate the fact, and again, I really haven't seen David play all that much, so a lot of these impressions are kind of new for me. But usually when you see younger players who are, kind of crawling up the boards, they're usually, unduly aggressive. Players like Walter. Trying to think of some other references, that wouldn't offend people by being compared to Walter. But it's not a bad thing, really. That kind of hyper-aggression really does work out in a lot of situations. But I really appreciate the fact that David knows how to key it down a bit. It's really been helping him out. Again, though, he's been having a lot of trouble finding Purri when Purri is absolutely defenseless. And that's something that has given Purri, a good 5 out of his 9 frags. Just David recovering or having his back turned or going around a corridor and being completely swept off his feet by what seems like a random rocket. But Purri's really keeping his head all over the map. So 3 minutes 52 seconds left on the clock. 8 frags between them. This could be garbage time. I don't want to really say that, this being DM3 and all. But Purri's doing enough damage against David here to make sure that David cannot aggress and cannot challenge for mega health, for yellow armor. And there's another situation where we see David with his back turned, and that is, again, a really worrisome prospect. Hopefully on a large map. I think the next map is not going to be larger. The only quote-unquote large map we're going to see today is going to be the Chastity Belt. Other than that, we're going to be seeing Duel 5, a very, very small donut-like map, and also ptrip, which is, again, very small and donut-like. So a lot of homogeny in the map picks here tonight. Or today, depending on what side of the planet you're on. But I'm really happy that West Coasters, East Coasters, Europeans, and all the like can all gather for this one event. That's what makes me really happy about everything Quake. But Duel 5, there's a lot less as far as hiding places go, but if David has trouble knowing where Purri's going to be attacking from in Duel 5, that's going to be as much of a problem there as it was for him here. Oh, don't fall into lava. Wow, he actually got out? Bravo. Bravo. But yeah, this is essentially garbage time. 2.5 minutes left. And Purri is doing enough damage between the items where, a yellow armor is free, a mega health is free. We've seen very, very few challenges on the items themselves. And that's really just something David needs to go, all right, he's trying to attack me while I think I'm safe and while I'm attempting to grab a rocket launcher or a railgun. And these otherwise innocuous moments end up being my most dangerous moments. So that's where David needs to turn the fight back against Purri. And really, he needs to also be in a position where he can avoid Purri long enough to actually make some sort of aggression happen on the Mega on the Yellow. Mega's a little bit easier to get the free damage with the rocket launcher than Yellow is. But Purri's going all aggressive for another hit. And with that Mega in his hands, you know, he's able to take that first hit from David and just kind of aggress right into him. And David's response after that first hit really hasn't been all that fantastic against Purri here on DM3. But a minute 30 seconds left. And we're going to be seeing Duel 5, ladies and gentlemen. So again, if you've been having problems with the stream, you have a ton of options, actually. You can either downgrade the quality, because right now I'm streaming at a full 2 megabit. And if you have, you know, 1.5 or something like that, it's not going to fly for you. Another thing you can do is watch in GTV. The server is all over IRC, so that shouldn't be too difficult to find. And you can listen to us on tastelessflame.tv/player, or you can watch the Russian stream, and I think Sofiane is on there as well on Alex J's channel. So you really have no excuse for rage quitting this fantastic event. But David, you know, has found a second wind here in the final minutes, has picked up a few free frags, and it's really kind of amazing that we haven't seen David shift into a close-range SSG full aggressive stance earlier in the match. I mean, a lot of it does indeed come down to the fact that, once again, David has not been able to catch Purri unawares, and for the SSG to work, you really need to go, boop, here I am, eat my buckshots. And David really hasn't made all too many of those opportunities for himself. And getting the SSG in the first place involves being in the yellow armor room, and Purri's had full control of that for the bulk of the match. But we're going to be going from map number 1 to map number 2, Q2 Duel 5, very, very shortly here, guys. So stay tuned right here on TSTV as we see more Purri versus David for the EDL Season 9 finale. It's like final with an E at the end. Everything's better with the E at the end. Alright, so yeah, Purri has gone still mode. Likely taken a few drags. David, he's good to go. Well, he was born in 1993 anyway, so that would put him 6. Yeah, okay. I don't know what the age restrictions are over there, but leave me alone. David's good to go. And yes, I am exempt from using anti-cheat, goddammit. Alright, Purri's readied up. He just ate that cigarette. He's that hardcore. And I like that Purri's able to actually bring people back to Quake 2 through seeing him, because they recognize him from Quake 4 or from Quake Live. There are very few players out there. I think Jehar would be one of the other ones who actually still participate enough in Quake 2 to kind of bridge some of the audience gaps between the games, which I obviously have a vested interest in. But let me turn off the overlay so I don't forget to later. 15 minutes here on Duel 5 coming up very shortly. And actually, yeah, we did get to see this map played with Americans in it. It's usually a fairly European map in last week's King of the Hill, a weekly Quake 2 Duel tournament here in North America. Just check out the website for more infos. But here we go. Purri versus David, map 2 here on Duel 5. We're actually going to be watching David as we get started here, and he's got the initial rocket launcher. Now, I know I said before that in Quake 2, the rocket launcher is the most important weapon in every map, but in 3 of the maps that we're likely going to see tonight, yeah, it is going to be important, especially here on Duel 5. I said earlier that it's donut-shaped, but it's really just one oval with a couple of tiers. And wow, look at that aggression from the chain gun from PURRI. The rockets from David not connecting home on anything. PURRI taking together first frag, and this is definitely a map where we're going to see the pace turned up, up to 11 or so. As this is a very, very non-stop map. You always have something important spawning up, and PURRI's looking to hold on to everything he's got. He's up to 100-100 with rocket launcher. David, I'm not quite sure what he's rocking right now, but David's actually gone into hiding. Not an easy feat in this map, and actually not always an advisable feat either, just because whatever you're trying to trap out, you have, you know, two directions you can go. You can go forward or you can go back. It's a very circular map that way. In some places you can go down, but in most cases that doesn't help either. A very nice rail by David, actually catching PURRI in the side. And I only note that because it's one of the first times we've seen David actually catch PURRI unawares with a beautiful rail. So that's a ton of damage. And once again, this is a yellow armor only map, though there are two YAs at opposite ends. The upper YA being a little bit more important. One, for having the height advantage. Two, for having the adrenaline that sets your health back up to 100. And three, for having the rocket launcher right below. Oh, wow. Nice chain gun coming out of David here. He really can't push this into a frag most likely, but he's going to drop down, look for a rail. Both of them will be missing, but PURRI will be recovering back over to chain gun yellow. It's railable right now. David, PURRI knows that he's weak. Oh, wow, they're both in their 50s. A lot of pain coming from both of these guys right now. But PURRI's waiting for YA, and David would be wise to do the same. David's on the adrenaline side of the map, but PURRI took that earlier on, and so David won't really have that to recover to. But there is 50 health on that side, which is another advantageous point of this side of the map. It's down at the bottom, which ends up turning into a trap, but in this case, it really gives David an edge. He's wanted to maintain high ground here coming to this next fight, and again, apologies about the latency. It's all on the game side of things. Herk, gurk, gurk, gurk. Yeah, sucks. Actually, let me see if PURRI's is any better. No. Ah, lag of vision. But PURRI's going to be taking another chain frag. 42 health, but the adrenaline's just coming back up. And so that'll be 2 to zip. Quit your quad spines, silly bastard. Okay, game, seriously, quit your lagging now. Just stop it. Stop it. Jeez, that's ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. But just a couple of minutes into this, PURRI is really making heavy use of his chain gun here. But with the rails coming out, we're seeing a lot of these poke hits keep David's head down. And David attempts a few traps every once in a while, but PURRI's really not playing this all that aggressively. Once he finds David trying to ambush him, he's able to corner him fairly easily. But other than that, the only resolution of a play like that is that PURRI has plenty of time to recover to whatever he likes. So there's another YA for PURRI, up 6-0. And again, Wissy and Baya, if you're watching this, I do apologize for being an American and having the American tubes having to cross the frickin' ocean. It's actually a problem I've been having ever since the earthquakes, and which is odd because it's on the other side of the world, but hey. What do I know about the global way of things working? David pulling together a second frag, though, and that one actually not a lot of damage came from PURRI that time around. He was trying to troll out with grenades, which are actually fairly effective on this side of the map. But with Hyper Blaster coming back out, PURRI's going to be weak, but PURRI knows that he has David on the run with his chain gun, pulling together a 7th frag. And with plenty enough defensive chain gun ammo to give him time to recover back to YA. He's really feasting on the chain gun yellow armor side of the map a lot, and really just staging a lot of the attacks back on the rocket launcher side. That gives David a lot of RL, but oh, there we go. We finally see that rocket launcher really being used effectively to keep PURRI low, keep him down. But PURRI's now playing really defensively, using the angles of the chain gun to his advantage to do a little bit of extra damage against David without really taking anything in return. And David right now is going, all right, I have the rocket launcher, I have the power, I should be able to make, you know, this final amount of damage happen, but PURRI's really picking his angles well. We all have a thing or two to learn here. And a bit of a late switch of railgun by PURRI, giving David the opportunity for the first amount of damage, but PURRI's able to recover back up to 100 health. He's now, you know, at the place where he can take another rail before really having to worry about it. But as we're just finishing up our first 5 minutes, it's a much, much closer game than last round. I mean, 7-2, definitely in PURRI's favor, but also something that David can take back. But the only problem is how long it takes for David to really get a bead on PURRI and really catch him to get some damage off, other than, you know, a little bit of splash here, a little bit of splash there. PURRI's been like a ghost. A ghost, you know, that unwinds a chain gun at you. Probably my least favorite kind of ghost. Okay, PURRI in the flushing corner, coming back up top. Looking to wrest away control of the upper yellow armor room away from David, force him back over there. And this could be a trap in the making. I think PURRI's starting to troll for more damage and another frag right now. And coming right around the corner, walking right into a rail. Another one could do it, but at this range, it's going to be difficult for David. Another pop-up, another rocket, and PURRI pulls together another frag, making it 8-on-2. And again, if the video lag, you know, is not your cup of tea, I really don't blame you. I'm not enjoying it much myself either. So yeah, just watching GTV, hope that you get less latency than I do if you're an American, and just listen to the radio stream on tastesplay.tv/player. But yeah, PURRI's chain has been really, really effective here. And actually right now, PURRI's in a place where David could just grab a weapon, any weapon, and finish him off. But we really haven't seen a lot of off-the-spawn pad aggression from David. David wants to set up those traps, but there we go. We finally see a grenade to the face. David bringing this within 6 frags. But what can David do to keep the pressure going? I mean, he paused a little bit in order to troll some grenades down the left, which is great and all, but he really needs to stay on top of PURRI and make sure that PURRI is forced to move away from David. And David is making a lot of movements like he's expecting PURRI to come to him. And in that case, it actually does happen. David down to 1 health, though he can recover back up to 50, but he's still railable here. We hear YA picked up. David coming back up top. That was a close timing maneuver. And the fact that PURRI actually went low gives him a little bit more time to work with. But he needs to stop kind of biding for time and expecting PURRI to walk into a lot of these shots and actually see if he can go aggressive. And of course, the beginning of that is, you know, knowing where your opponent is and starting to put pressure on that area. But all of David's movement is really focused on again, doing the pot shot damage from range and from PURRI entering an area that he's leaving. And it's really difficult to start an aggressive maneuver that way. It really comes down to footwork right now more than anything else. Nice. And again, I mean, David, when that works out for him, it really does work out for him. PURRI walking into a couple rockets, making it 9-4, but David's very low right now. There's a freebie rail frag for David, making this thing only 4 frags apart. And David nailing together another rail. PURRI's really going to be on his back leg right now. David taking away every important item on this side of the map. Should be able to go all aggressive here. Has PURRI already gotten away with yellow armor, though? Yes, he has, but there we go. David's able to put the aggression on, keep it on, and now we have 3 frags between them. David needs to get the rail. There we go, but now he's down 15 health. And with PURRI taking away the 50 just a few seconds ago, I really wonder if David's going to be able to keep up his aggression at this point. PURRI's going to have enough time with David having to recover on health to get up on weapons and armor himself. And that does make me sad. I mean, I have async on and all that. If I turn my rate down just a hair. I just want it to be smooth, that's all. Am I really asking for so much? Okay, that didn't work out so well. All right, so another fight breaking out. David only down by a couple frags, but once again, the bout of aggression coming out of David needed to be stubbed in the toe so that he could recover back up. But now that he's at 100, PURRI's going to be in the exact same place. There's no mega here, so really being at 100 health is just about as good as it gets. And PURRI's chain gun has really been able to come out on top of whatever situation David enters into him with. Irk. This lag does make me sad. But I do like how close we've seen this thing get. But this is immediately slowed down as we enter the final 5 minutes of Duel 5. And this is the point where David needs to make absolutely no mistakes. I mean, not only does he need to pick up 2, he needs to not drop any either. So you can see that he's being much more cautious here. But now, flooding right in with chain gun. This is beautiful. Getting in a lot of free damage and not taking anything in return. He's got top yellow armor covered, which means he can take a little bit of damage for free and then recover back to YA. Which also means that PURRI will be able to recover here. Oh, and taking that initial damage and getting... Oh, he did not need to drop off the ledge right there. This is actually going to cost him quite a bit. PURRI's going to be able to crawl up his ass with Hyper Blaster, and look at that. A barrage of Hyper is going to be giving PURRI another frag. So now, still only 3 frags between them. But time is getting short for David. All right, so PURRI coming back in and looking to turn his aggression back on. And you can see the immediate change of pace in the way that PURRI is moving. He's definitely, you know, moving very casually from area to area, but making sure that when he does, he's pieing out his corners very nicely. And he's usually got a rail or a chain gun ready for him. And he's really making sure to cut the corners when he knows that David is looking to exit an area. And by that route, he's able to really close the distance quickly and turn that chain gun into a weapon of destruction. But here we go. David going aggressive. PURRI's actually late on the chain gun swap, but there's the damage. David dropping down, and that was a positional mistake that he really didn't need to make. Maybe he just realized, okay, I'm low on stack. I need to exit this fight. But that's going to be costing David even more frags, even more time right now. Yikes. This is what Hyper Blaster felt like in the 56K days, actually. People would definitely, you know, bring out the Hyper Blaster and high ping bastards just because there are so many entities that just drop their frame rate way, way down. Which makes me sad. But 12 on 7. Hope I'm able to carry it at least a little bit here. 2 minutes left on the clock. And the gap between PURRI and David has once again widened. And, you know, David really had the right idea by going aggressive as much as he could until he absolutely needed to take a break and recover himself. But the only point where David's been able to make these solid frags is when PURRI's been consistently on the back foot. So far, it's proven to be a case of, you know, you give PURRI an inch and he will take a mile. And with the third map being Power Trip, that is going to be an even sharper edge for David. Power Trip is going to be the first map we see today that actually has a red armor available. No Mega, of course, but there is a yellow and a green to recover to for the down player. But it really comes down to the central red armor. I mean, it's a little bit different from the previous 2 maps that we've seen where you really need to circulate from one area of the map to the other, and this is really more about controlling the middle. But that's coming up in 1 minute, 14 to 7. And once again, I just want to underline that, yes, we did see David get a really good streak. But once again, you give PURRI an inch, and he will run for a mile. And so a lot of the tone of Power Trip will really come down to who spawns, you know, with the ability to grab red armor first. And if David does get it, we're really going to have to watch PURRI as he fights to regain control for it. It's going to be a really interesting match. This is what I love about Power Trip. All right, guys, 20 seconds. And we've seen this thing expand to 16 to 7. We might see one more token frag for PURRI here. But David just might let this thing ride. And once again, I mean, David is a relative newcomer to the European Quake 2 scene as far as competitive play goes. But he's really done a fantastic job of getting this far. And 16 to 7 against PURRI in the grand final is no slouch at all. So we're going to be moving into ptrip. So stay tuned, guys, as these guys get readied up. Guys. I'm going to say that as much as I need to. All right, we've got ourselves a countdown. GLs and HFs thrown out for what could be the third and final map of PURRI versus David right here on TSTV. It's going to be PURRI getting first red armor up the tall crates. A little bit weak on weapons other than the chain, but we've already seen that no matter what range we're talking about, PURRI with the chain gun is absolutely deadly. So that'll be David getting first SSG and yellow armor. I believe he's also got that first rocket launcher as well, which is a definite boon. And with the railgun in hand, he might be able to hold on to red armor grab a little bit longer as well. So no frags yet, and look at this. We're finally seeing David keeping PURRI's head down a little bit more than usual and getting in the initial damage with rail. That has given David the opportunity to push in and try to finish him off. But PURRI's been able to defend very nicely with rockets and chain gun as well. So David, 66 health, but he's also got first frag and the next grab of red armor. And taking no damage on that red armor grab is definitely going to give him a lot of mileage to aggress PURRI off of the first frag. Wow. Hug rockets are finally going to be saving David's life, but none too soon. Another second of that chain, and it would have been all over for David. But that means another freebie grab of red. PURRI missing a vital rail shot as David exits, but oh, catching the other one coming around the corner. And this will put David's head down as far as PURRI's was just a minute ago. But again, I mean, the red armor challenges, I mean, they're either going to be right up close in the face if you know that he's already weak, or they're going to be necessarily, you know, at bay, at a distance from the top of the map so that you can stay safe if that ends up not being the case. That was a hell of a ramble of a sentence. I know, I'm all stoked up on caffeine. But David's so far been able to hold on to the last 3 red armor grabs. Not really giving him, you know, any extra frags right now. I mean, PURRI's been able to stay top of the map and stay defensive enough to where he's just looking to wear David down. And being left at only 29 red armor points, that could indeed happen. He's going to be looking to come back up for the next one, and he's just barely too early, but PURRI misses the vital rail, and PURRI drops down and loses a lot of his height advantage at the same time. So this is going to allow David to, a little bit of delay there, actually causes David a lot of ground so that he can't come easily back up into the yellow armor room. But this has been a better round of armor than his last one. But here's PURRI making his move, but that'll be David making another frag, looking to get at least another amount of damage off on PURRI as he comes through for a grab of chain gun. David really made the right play there by not sticking around for that fight. The chain gun would have taken him down quicker than you could say, you know, something fast. Yeah. David able to recover to adrenaline, and this is a spot of the map that he's been kind of missing in his repertoire over the past minute or so, but that'll certainly help. Oh, and I wish my game wouldn't lag out right when we're about to see whether or not a crucial railgun hits. Well, there's one right there, and now David has no red armor coming into this next red armor grab. This is the point where PURRI needs to start putting his aggression on, but he actually lets David get away with it. He recovers to yellow armor himself, giving David much more time to, you know, stack back up and get back to square one. But hey, it's still early in the match, and this is exactly why we're having these 15-minute rounds. We don't want the entire tone of the match set by the first couple spawns. But PURRI, because of that retreat back to yellow armor, has not been able to show himself at red armor for quite some time. And that rail coming out of the bandolier room, that was a vital, vital hit. That is going to be giving David even more breathing time. And now he's stacked up 100, 200. David's going to be on the offensive now. He doesn't really have a full bout of chain gun bullets, but he's actually going to be heading up the rocket launcher platform. This is risky. It's going to allow PURRI into position at least, but no, PURRI's a ghost. PURRI is nowhere to be found. He's actually back in the chain gun area, which will be denying David the ability to come back up into yellow armor, but a beautiful rocket from David actually gives him a first hit. And he's so far still been undamaged by any of those rails. Oh, and there's the rocket. Finally, we're starting to see David catch PURRI unawares. It looks like ptrip is really where David is going to be coming into his own. 5-on-0, and he's still full up on armor. A quick rocket jump to see if he can do some free damage. And even if not, he can recover back on red armor. But that little pause there actually knocks him out of position. A very good defensive rail but now he's going to come back into it, and oh, that rocket could have been the end of David, or at least the end of his offensive run, and this still could be, okay, good. We finally see him come back in with the last of his chain gun balls to defend that all-important red armor. So 7-on-0, and we're now through the first third of the match. And even though I'm still catching game lag, I do appreciate that Wissien and everybody else got me into the server itself. You know, it was a good effort. But 9 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. We have yet to see PURRI get on the board. And a lot of this map is really focused on momentum. This is a map where the person who's in control has a bit more to work with than the previous two maps we've seen. I mean, usually if PURRI is quote-unquote in control, he's at 100-100. Big whoop. I mean, David has the one and only red armor right now. And that really puts PURRI in a more dangerous position. He's got to make these long-range rails, and missing the ones that he has really been giving David enough time to make some important frags and give himself some breathing room and pad out his score. And so now David just needs to ride the same train that he has been for the first third of the match and make sure he doesn't give up the red. Oh, and coming back up here is going more aggressive against PURRI, but now PURRI is very, very weak right now, as is David. David's only got 5 shreds of that armor left. He's able to get a clean grab, and look at PURRI missing these all-important rails, and David wants to make this one last frag, but right now, that last little move out there, that could cost David everything. Yes, he's able to recover back up with adrenaline and the yellow armor, but he's still got way less red armor coming into this next grab than he has for a while. Question is, in all that time, what has PURRI been able to grab? Not very much at all. So now David, David is able to turn this thing into a 10-0 round. Who knows, guys? We could be seeing 4 maps this tournament. This grand final of the 9th season of the European Duel League. The most prestigious of the Quake 2 Duel Leagues. Which I feel bad about saying as an American, because the likes of PURRI and Damaya can enter in an American tournament with like 90 ping and still rape face. So sad. But David looks like he might be able to pull the map here. We have PURRI getting initial damage with chain, but David's able to do a pole dance because that's how his mama taught him. And pull together another frag off the spawn. I mean, he hasn't been making a lot of, you know, rail spawn frags off the pad, off of, you know, the little area right before the green armor crates. And that's largely because he really hasn't been in position for those things with each frag that he's making. I mean, PURRI's been able to at least force the fights out of a position where David can easily get a free shot. But that means that PURRI is, you know, wagering on playing a more complicated metagame, and David is just sticking to his guns here. And right now, I mean, David's making sure to keep the pressure up, but he's really not sticking his neck out to try and get a free frag off against PURRI, because he knows that right now, none of them are going to be free. There's going to be chain, there's going to be rail, it's going to be really difficult every step of the way. And so now David is just at least trying to just keep the score level. PURRI fighting back in for a yellow armor. Did he get that grab? Yes, he did. Health is still going to be at a premium. Unless he can get back over to the other side of the map, and that's exactly where he's going to be heading. But he's looking always for that one last rail. He knows that even if he dies here, David's going to be relatively weak, and depending on the spawn that PURRI gets, he could turn it into a turnaround. This is actually the beginning of David being out of position, but no, look at this. It's going to be a fight in the bandolier room. David hopping back up on top of the lift, able to escape, but now we've got PURRI in position for a red armor grab, but does he have timing for it? Yes, he does. There it is, but look at all the rocket damage that he's taking. And more importantly, look at how long it took PURRI to get into a fighting stance, into a fighting stack. 14-0 with only 5 minutes left on the clock. Even if PURRI is able to turn the tables of control right here, he's got to do several steps above what David's been doing. He's not only got to make sure to keep his stack high enough so that David can't go all aggressive and take it away from him, he's also got to make sure that when he does frag David, he does so in a place where he has the potential to get a free spawn frag, because with the time being what it is, he's going to need every break he can get. That was completely unchallenged red armor, however. And we might be seeing the signs of David going turtle mode. But David is caught on the 50 health ladder, and it's going to be a mutual frag. A chain gun and a rocket launcher drop down below, but PURRI is going to be grabbing away. Oh. That was actually PURRI trying to avoid damage and grab both of the weapons away, but David had priorities. He knew that weapons were more important than red armor in that case. It never guarantees a position after you make that frag, after a mutual frag, that you're going to be in position for the next item. But a frag is a frag at this point, especially with the clock being what it is. Game lag. And again, that's not on the stream itself. It's just in-game. But I can guarantee you that the audio stream will be flawless. And that way you get to watch it with your own packs. Oh, nice damage dealt out, and we finally see PURRI getting on the board. But once again, is it too little too late with only 3 minutes 30 seconds? And that was, again, a frag on the stairwell where PURRI really didn't have an opportunity to either get a free rail by the jacket armor or on the upper railgun spawn. But a railgun frag is what he's going to be getting anyway. Even if it means having to wait another 20 seconds. So, guys, what are you saying? 12 frags in 3 minutes? Is it doable? And more importantly, how much of a turtle can David turn into with the remaining time? This is a really difficult map to avoid a fight on. But David's got the right idea. Hand grenades dropping PURRI down to 6 health. Even with PURRI grabbing the frag and grabbing red armor, he's going to be relatively weak. Yeah, he's really going to have a lot of trouble going all that aggressive. That was a really good move by David. A little bit lol, a little bit troll with the hand grenades. But it means that they're going to be, you know, evenly stacked, and they're going to be evenly footed. And PURRI taking that rocket off of the chain gun spawn, that is going to be absolutely devastating for him. Forget the red armor. That is be buying David so much time here, and we could indeed be seeing a fourth map in the EDL Season 9 Grand Final. And that, of course, is going to be Chastity Belt, one of the larger maps we're going to be seeing with this list. I'm not entirely sure what the tiebreaker will be if it goes to 5. DM1, I assume. All right, but final 2 minutes. And PURRI's been able to pick up the first third of the lead that he needs to take. But again, David should be able to troll this out and avoid fights. And PURRI actually follows quite a long way into the upper crawl space there. And that's actually kind of important because that's a crawl space where you don't really know they've dropped down until you actually see them. Or you see them drop down from the other end. And so if you just, you know, do a little bit of a rim job there, they can stay up there the entire time. So it might not make a lot of sense in the interest of putting time together. Oh, and look at this. We're starting to see those spawn frags. I mean, PURRI, once you make that one spawn frag, you're in position for another one potentially. But final minute, and he's got to make another 8 frags. And David should be able to slow spawn at this point. Oh, wow. Those rockets going way off. And we should, yeah, we're seeing David slow spawning now. Taking as long as he can between lives. But yeah, this crawl space here, it's really difficult to aggress on it without really committing to it. And then if you do, it's not usually wise to follow them down the hole. You've got to back out and then make a fight happen somewhere else. Yep, GG's being called. Slow spawn. It's only 5 frags apart. Even so. But yeah, by being up here, he's going to be just fine. So there we have it. A great comeback by PURRI, but it's not quite going to be enough to take the map away from David. And we have a fourth map coming up. And I was hoping at the very least for a 3-1 split today. And so with Chastity Belt coming up, I could be right at the very least. But hey, it might even be 3-2. I would like that as well. All right, David needs some water. So do I. Actually, I got a cupcake right here because Rotten Rose is awesome. I don't know how to describe how useless I am without having her around. So stay tuned, guys. More EDL coming up right here on TSTV. All right, guys, we have the countdown for the fourth and potentially the last map here on Q2RDM to the Chastity Bout. And we're actually going to be seeing David getting that first railgun, and this is actually a bit of a change. The railgun ends up being a really important item here. I mean, it's really difficult to get to without your opponent knowing about it. But also, first Mega Health. I think it was David who got that, but he got a lot of it knocked off by that chain gun. A little bit less than I was expecting, actually. But as always here, the first Mega Health is nowhere near as important as the second. But David, not quite being knocked down to 100 there, is going to be really delaying the next spawn of that Mega. And so a lot of the tenor of these fights here on Q2RDM2 ends up being about grabbing away the Mega, and then seeing where the damage falls, and seeing who can be in a better position for the second Mega grab. And that's when you start to really see the fights happen, because that first Mega being up at the top of the map, you're going to have somebody else, you know, going for Mega than you have going for Railgun in most cases. Or you're going to see a lot of those fights just kind of given away because, no, there are more important things to get on the map. But the second Mega is likely to come up when there's no really more important place to be, so that's where the real tone shifts. So David's going to be getting that, and not a lot of damage taken, all things considered. I mean, he had the bulk of his armor knocked off, but without any frags over the first minute and a half here. I like the way this map is shaping up so far. Now, David doesn't really have the high ground right here, but he got the initial damage off, and he still has a 20-point health advantage over PURRI. You know, assuming PURRI's at 100. All other things being even. But that one rocket was actually fairly important for David. It's going to allow David to be a little bit more ballsy here when it comes to this Mega, which is still going to be coming up in another 20 seconds. I mean, David is just really trolling across that hallway, burning off a lot of the clock, and not really allowing PURRI to get all that much other than shards during that time. But if PURRI breaks out right here and David doesn't get anything before the Mega comes out, then that could be an opportunity lost. That could actually be really damaging for him. But now at 100 armor, fakes out the jump. PURRI might not be going for it himself, but he's definitely wanted to do damage on it. And there it is. And that is a damageless mega pickup. David is down to 1, count 1 rail slug, but he's going to be able to pick up 5 here, do some extra damage against PURRI, and this should allow him to go all aggressive. Now PURRI with the defensive rail. As always, you never want to be just hammering down on PURRI, because he'll hammer back. But there it is. David finally getting it in and getting a spawn frag as well, making it 2-0 for a fantastic opener of map number 4 here on the Chastity Belt. I know my Chastity Belt just thunked against the ground. At least I think that was my Chastity Belt. David doing very good damage. Receiving a bit, but all things being even, David's got a better stack right now. He might be needing to give up the water arena in favor of holding on to this next mega, but PURRI doesn't really want to dive in for the water himself right now. He wants to make sure he's there to hurt the mega, but the mega will be hurting him right now as David pulls up a 3rd frag. David missing the jump up top. This could be costing him important, vital time. But, you know, PURRI is going to be more focused on the yellow armor, so there's not really going to be a lot of retaliation on the mega itself. But it means that David can't, in turn, move from mega into aggressing on PURRI's face. I mean, that was... that's something, again, that could come back to bite David in the ass. Like I said before, you give PURRI an inch and he'll run with it for a mile. And yeah, that little missed jump means that David has no idea where PURRI is right now. I'm willing to bet he's on the corner catwalk. No, he's up top instead, going in for a mega that's not going to be there, taking one more bit of damage, and now having to recover back up to 100-100. Without that yellow armor being in the water arena, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. But he's looking to play defensively here. Oh. He had his ass sticking out there. Don't do that, PURRI. And one more rail on the yellow armor. He's got the grab, but he is now railable. Very, very weak, and here comes the aggression. PURRI's got a good angle to defend with rockets, but as he breaks on out, David will be breaking him down. So first 5 minutes elapsed, and PURRI is yet to get on the board. A hand grenade like that could certainly help things, though, as David has no more mega, no more armor. And now the only real advantage he has is that of position and that railgun. But mega will be coming back up. Will PURRI be actually moving in for it? No, he's actually even going to be late on the aggression to it. And David with the perfectly placed rocket will be making PURRI, well, get his tail stuck between his legs and have to dive back on towards the water arena. But a very nice jump pad faked out sound by David. And that is going to be bringing PURRI right into David's trap, making it 5-zip. And compared to ptrip, I mean, this map is more about the flow than, you know, holding onto a holding pattern like David did in ptrip. I mean, he's really got to be everywhere at once and be on top of PURRI. And it looks like, you know, compared to DM3, he's able to stay on top of PURRI much more consistently than he was at the beginning of the series. But up 6 frags, and we're now through the first third. This is actually a good precedent for him. He's able to hold down to the mid-map fairly exclusively here, bullying PURRI away from any fight to mega. And it's be playing the pie game with the rockets here. David barely taking any damage at all. Nice. And being caught on the stairs is going to be making things very difficult for PURRI. So to make that 7-zip. Oh, very nice rail. And the listen for the spawn frag. I like that. We've seen very, very few clean spawn frags during the series. And it's one of the important metagame aspects of Quake 2, where it's not only important when you make a frag, but where you make a frag. So PURRI is able to grab away a yellow armor in the arena. And this is actually a little bit dangerous for David because he's now armorless, and if he's wanting to get more armor, he's actually going to have to venture into the water arena, which is A, something that PURRI could push him off of with rockets in hand, or B, PURRI could hold back, play a defensive position, and get free damage off. It looks like David was not willing to go in for the latter option and is just willing to wait up the second arena yellow armor. That was actually a really smart play, because in this case, The armor itself isn't the most important thing to hang on to. It's the actual position of the middle arena. David's taken a bit of damage. He's railable now, but PURRI doesn't have a railgun. And there's the rail from David. It's really vital that David was able to pull away that first rail in the game. So 10-0. Another 2 minutes and we'll be seeing the final 5 minutes come up. All right, PURRI's got a rail, but he's not really going to be left out of there freely. And oh, a beautiful air rail by David and another spawn frag. I'm liking the way this is going for David. He could indeed be pushing it to a 5-mapper. Holy shit, another frag off the spawn, making it 13-0. And now that we're well over halfway through the match, guys, it's a grand final. And PURRI, who has not lost one map during the entire season, is about to be forced into a 5-mapper by David, the young'un, the young whippersnapper, the runt, the guy who, born in 1993, makes me feel old. And he's about to give PURRI a run for his money. I like this. All right, but PURRI's able to actually get away with a fighting rail, not just a dying rail. This will be putting a lot of pressure on David, even though he's just made a free grab of mega health. So that still gives David a lot of time to put the pressure on PURRI and take the railgun right back away from him. So there it is there. But we hear shards picked up. Means either chain or railgun. He's just going to be... Oh, wow. Beautiful rails by David. In fact, let me take a quick look at accuracies here. He's actually got 33% on a map where you're generally using the rail to spam. And if you're coming from Quake Live and you're like 33%, psh, I rail better than that. Well, the sheer fact that the railgun does 100 damage in Quake 2 as opposed to 80 will already, you know, make your accuracy go down, if you think about it. Because usually what would be an opportunity for another rail hit in Quake Live means that your opponent is already dead in Quake 2. So keep that in mind. David is actually having to be forced off of a mega health here. But he's not too worried about it. I mean, he's still plus backing. He's giving up more fights than he really needs to right now, but all in the interest of staying alive. And most importantly, holding onto his railgun. If he dies, it's more important than just losing a frag, more important than just losing a mega health. It's losing the weapon that takes so long to get in this map. But now that David has had to back off, it's allowed PURRI to grab a rail of his own. So now the tables are starting to turn, but just like ptrip, it could be too late for PURRI. 4 minutes, 30 seconds left, and 17 frags is a very tall order. So again, the turtle game is always dangerous, but when David is this far ahead, it should work out for him, but I can already tell you that the score is going to be getting a lot closer before the match ends up. Actually, I might be wrong there. One more rail from David could, you know, take the cartridge out of PURRI's face, blow on it, and hit the reset button a few times. Ooh, last rail just a little bit high. But look at this, PURRI coming in all aggressive. Looking to burn down David's chain gun. Where is the defensive rocket from David? And oh, the chain from PURRI. As always, dangerous as all hell. And there we have it, the first time that David has died here on Q2 RDM2, the Chastity Belt. Which means he really needs to stay out of the middle arena. I mean, it's really the railgun that's the key to even being anywhere near the mega health, anywhere near the arena yellow armor. So David's got to play the corners, got to play the choke points to make sure that the railgun from PURRI has the least opportunity to do that damage. And oh, look at that. Very nice push there by PURRI, but David got away with the armor anyway, and he was already doing immediate damage. So even with the frag there by PURRI, he's going to be fairly weak here. There's the wait for the armor, and then move back up top of the map. And again, I mean, the score is going to be closing in the next 3 minutes. But this should allow David to once again slow spawn if he needs to. And there's a depletion of chain gun bullets by PURRI. It's going to slow him down a little bit. And do we have David actually aggressing into mid-map? Oh, this is interesting. This is a place where PURRI lost so much time earlier in the map, and now it's going to be a place where David can burn so much time willingly at the end of all things. Nice. This time around, David was a few steps ahead of where PURRI was expecting him to be. And so David was able to recover very quickly and get out of there with the free yellow armor. And now with PURRI down in the middle tier, I mean, it's going to be really difficult to hit this. David is going to have to troll it out and burn more of the clock. Just make PURRI have to delay his jump to it. He's not willing to go in for it himself. He's just staying alive, staying alive. And PURRI comes in with the chain gun, but his first hits are going to be off as he's expecting David to be recovering back over to water, which he will be now, but that'll be damage that PURRI can't quite recover from faster than David. So now he's looking for that rail, but he is not hitting any of them. In fact, let me not do any injustice to the guy, but he's only got 10% railgun right now. 12 health, and he's about to lose control once again. And again, if nothing else, this is more clock burning. This is more garbage timing by David. One last rail shot for PURRI. Is David even railable? Yes, he is actually, and there it is! PURRI getting himself solidly onto Mega Health and, well, more onto the scoreboard, but David burned so much time there, and where the tables have turned stack-wise and control-wise, the tables have turned it another way as well.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6,